There are trains that hurry. And then there are trains that understand. This one belonged to the second kind. It departed every night at exactly 11:47. From a small, almost forgotten station, where the lights hummed softly. And nothing ever seemed urgent. No announcements were shouted. No crowds pushed forward. People arrived early, sat quietly, and waited as if waiting itself was the purpose. Daniel had been one of those people for nearly 12 years. Not because he loved trains. Not because he had somewhere important to go. But because the night train gave him something the rest of life never did. Daniel worked as a maintenance supervisor for a regional electrical company. It wasn't a job people asked questions about. When he told someone what he did, they usually nodded politely and changed the subject, which suited him just fine. His days were predictable. Wires, panels, timetables, lunch at the same cafe, the same seat, the same soup. But nights belonged to the train. He boarded at the same door every time. Third car. Middle row. Window seat. The seat fabric was worn smooth. Most of the passengers were regulars. There was an elderly woman who always carried knitting needles, but never finished anything. A man in a brown coat who read the same paperback every night and never turned the page. A couple who sat apart, close enough to acknowledge each other, far enough to remain separate. No one spoke much. And when they did, their voices stayed low, as if the train itself preferred quiet. Daniel never asked where anyone was going. The train stopped at several towns, but many passengers never got off. Neither did Daniel. He rode until the final stop. Years earlier, Daniel had been different. Not louder, not bolder, just faster. He used to rush through mornings, through conversations, through weekends. He married young, moved into a bright apartment with windows that faced the sun. For a while, everything felt aligned. Then one day, without drama, without betrayal or shouting, his wife said quietly, "I feel like I'm running beside you, but you're already somewhere else." Daniel didn't know how to answer. He hadn't realized he was moving at all. They separated gently. Boxes were packed carefully. The night train entered his life. Not long after. At first, it was practical. His work schedule changed. Driving home late felt exhausting. The train was easier. But soon, it became something else. A place where no one expected him to explain who he was, or what he planned to do next. On the train, he was simply present. And presence, he discovered, was deeply restful. One night, near the beginning of autumn, something subtle changed. Daniel didn't notice it immediately. The train departed as usual. The lights hummed. The doors closed with their familiar sound. But as the city slipped past the windows, Daniel felt an unusual stillness. Not outside. Inside. As if the world had lowered its volume. Just for him. He leaned back, closed his eyes, and for the first time in years, sleep came before thought. He dreamed, but gently. No sharp images. No fear. Just movement. Walking through a field he recognized but couldn't name. The air was cool. The sky wide. When he woke, the train was already slowing. Final stop. But something felt different. The platform outside was unfamiliar. No signs. No clocks. Just a soft amber light. And a sense of completion. Passengers began to stand. Daniel hesitated. He had never gotten off before. But tonight, his feet moved before his thoughts. The platform was quiet. No announcements. No urgency. The train doors closed behind him. And after a moment, the train departed again. Without him, Daniel stood still. He expected anxiety, confusion. Instead, he felt calm. Ahead was a small building. Warm light spilled from its windows. A bench nearby held a thermos. And 2 cups. Someone had prepared for him. Inside the building, a man sat behind a simple desk. No uniform. No name tag. Just a gentle presence. "You arrived when you were ready," the man said, as if continuing a conversation they had already been having. Daniel nodded. He didn't know why. "You don't have to stay," the man added. "But you can rest." That sounded reasonable. Time behaved differently there. Daniel slept deeply. Woke without alarms. He walked along paths. That didn't require decisions. Sometimes he spoke. Sometimes he didn't. When he returned. And he did return. Nothing dramatic happened. He boarded the train again. Sat in his usual seat. The city looked the same. But Daniel was different. He listened more. Paused longer. Let moments finish before moving on. And every night, as he rode the train, sleep came easily. Some people say the night train still runs. Others say it only appears. For those who no longer chase time, Daniel never corrected anyone. He just rested. And that, at last, was enough.